One night, as he stood in front of the mirror, Mark noticed something that sent shivers down his spine. His reflection didn't match his movement. Mark had just moved into a new apartment, an old, creaky building with a history of strange occurrences. The previous tenants had left quickly, and whispers about the place's eerie reputation swirled around the neighborhood. Mark, skeptical of ghost stories, chalked it up to superstition. He was more concerned about settling in after a long day of moving boxes. Mark, a young man in his late 20s, worked in marketing and was a rational thinker. He prided himself on his ability to separate reality from fiction. He had heard the rumors about the apartment being haunted, but they didn't bother him. He dismissed them as just that. Rumors. One night, after a long workday, Mark stood before the bathroom mirror, brushing his teeth. He suddenly noticed something strange. His reflection wasn't moving in sync with him. When he looked directly into the mirror, his reflection paused for a moment, staring back at him. Mark quickly turned his head, and his reflection followed the movement, but it lingered longer than it should have, as if it had a mind of its own. He shrugged it off, thinking it was just exhaustion, but the next morning, things escalated. As he gazed into the bathroom mirror, he saw his reflection not just moving out of sync, but it was smiling, an unnaturally wide grin. Mark began to notice more unsettling things happening with the mirror. Objects in the reflection would be out of place, even though they were properly arranged in real life. He started hearing whispers every time he looked into the mirror. His reflection would occasionally show him in strange poses, strange, almost menacing postures, as if mocking him. It wasn't just the mirror anymore. It felt as though something was trying to break through. At night, he would hear tapping on the glass as if something, was knocking from the other side. He tried covering the mirror with a towel, but the tapping continued. And the reflection? It only became more distorted, more terrifying. One evening, after hearing the tapping again, Mark stood before the mirror, his breath shallow. This time, the reflection didn't mirror him at all. It was doing its own thing, staring at him, grinning, reaching its hand out toward him. Mark's heart pounded in his chest as the reflection began to step out of the mirror. It was more than a reflection now. It was real. As the figure emerged, it spoke in a voice that sounded like his own. "I've been waiting for you, Mark." In terror, Mark tried to back away, but the reflection grabbed him by the wrist. The real Mark, unable to move, could only watch as his doppelgänger took control of his body, forcing him to smile unnaturally. Days later, Mark's friends and family grew worried. No one had seen him for days, and the apartment was locked from the inside. The authorities couldn't explain what happened, but one thing was clear: the mirror had consumed him. His reflection now lived in the world, taking his place, while Mark, trapped in the glass, could only watch as the thing that looked like him lived his life. Sometimes the things that reflect us aren't just shadows of ourselves. They're things that can consume us, piece by piece, until we're nothing but a hollow image.